Welcome back to Life We Choose podcast. I'm Sergio Garcia. This is episode 5 with someone very special to me, my teacher, my mentor, Marshawn Calvin, who got me into news and has basically taken me very far right now. As of right now, I'm 20 years old. Mr. Calvin has been teaching for 24 years. So thank you for being here, Mr. Calvin.
No
How you doing today?
problem at all, man. It's an honor to be here with you, and just so proud of the work that you're doing, Sergio. You've done a lot since you took my class, and for me, that's one of the biggest accomplishments to see, one of my students take what I taught them in class, and then to see them just continue on. And you got a podcast now, and you're doing all of this. You're working at my former station, Channel 5. You worked at ABC 24. To know that my students are leaving my program and going out into the world and they're doing this work, it really makes me happy. And I'm very proud of the work you're doing. And I can't say that enough. My family's proud of the work you're doing. And so are all your former classmates, too, that see what you're doing. So, just congratulations on everything you're doing, too, son.
That means a lot. Thank you so much,
No
Mr.
problem,
Calvin.
man. No problem.
So let's talk about the items you brought, because these are some amazing items you brought. You brought some awards, right?
I brought some awards. You actually helped me get these awards, working on production crews with me when we first started the broadcasting program over at East High School, and we won 2 Telly Awards, and we won a major award with the state. Was with the Career and Technical Education Department with the state of Tennessee, and we won that for #1 program in the state. And that's our first time ever entering the competition. And you were part of that. That was your graduating year. Mm-hmm. So all of these 3 awards that we have, we made all that happen during the 3 years I was there. And you were part of, everything that we did. So I wanted to bring that today to showcase it. And you hadn't seen it in person, so I wanted to bring it and showcase it. And I'm going to get you something to put on your shelf for the amazing work we've done together, but also to represent my time here on your show. So I'll have that coming to you soon.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, it's been a very exciting ride. This is my 4th year at East, and my 24th year teaching. So for that, you kind of you come to that place where God has really been able to bless me 30 years working in the business and 24 years teaching, and to be able to pass on what I know to you guys, that is one of the biggest accomplishments, to see y'all take it and then go on. You were in my class, for a little bit of time, and then you went on to school for it. You gave up soccer to actually pursue this as a career. So for that to happen, that was an honor to me, because I know how hard you worked with soccer with your dad and everything like that, and I know how much that meant to you. But for you to take what I taught you during that time of us working together at East and all the productions we did, and you doing AXO and so many different competitions. You was a part of the Emerging Filmmakers Competition, and then you went on to Indie Memphis. So all of the stuff you accomplished in that time with me, and then now you got a podcast that you're doing, in your spare time. That amazes me. So when you asked me to come on and to see the setup and watch the videos that you're doing, man, I'm just like, man, my guy's doing it. He's doing it.
I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. So I want to get into the reason you became a teacher, because your knowledge of news is absolutely amazing. Yeah. But at the same time, you took another step and you said, you know what, I want to go ahead and teach kids what I do. So what was your reason for becoming a teacher?
Okay, so the first thing for me, when I was going to Russ College, I was a graduate of Russ College, Holly Springs, Mississippi. I came down from the Chicagoland area to go to school down in this area. It was due to family being in the area. Got to Russ College, started learning radio and television and everything like that, and got involved with it. But what happened is I got an opportunity to go to New York and intern for NBC News. And I worked on the soap opera Another World, Cosby Show, worked Dateline NBC and all those different things at Rockefeller Center and in Brooklyn at the East Coast Operations area, where they had both of the shows at. So I got the opportunity to do that, and it changed my life. So I always said if I was able to mentor at some point once I got into my career, when it became that time to do that, I would try to get into mentoring and doing all of that, because I love trying to help young people. I just see so much in young people when they're in my presence. I just see the work ethic, and I just think, they're the wave of the future for the most part. So I was working at Channel 5, and I had a mentor at the time, Lamont Matthews. We call him Shadow. He's a legend at Channel 5, and you would probably hear about him if you hadn't already heard about him. But he was my mentor, and he had left to go teach for a couple years, and I took his position in the afternoon, working in the studio and all the operations that they needed me to do. So I became the crew chief, and I was working over there. And for me, I had a young family, young marriage, everything like that, and my wife was doing everything at home, and
Yeah.
I was out trying to be the breadwinner and trying to get everything. She had a really good job at TBN at the time, where she had a 8 to 5. So for me, I was always freelancing, doing everything, and then it just became apparent that because I had grew up in a single parent household, that I needed to be at home a little bit more. And so Shadow came to me one day. He said, "Hey, I'm tired of teaching." He said, "Hey, won't you, take over and teach, and you be at home a little bit more with your family, and then I can come back and take your job at Channel 5," because he had went part-time at the time.
Yeah.
And so we kind of made that decision, like, yeah, let me go home and talk to the wife talk to my family. And she said, that would help me a lot if you're able to be at home a little bit more. And being that I grew up in an absent, fatherless home for the most part, my dad was, he was in my life, but he wasn't present. So it was important to me that I did a better job with my kids. But I also had this burning desire too, like if I got into teaching, I'm going to teach them what I learned at Rockefeller Center, because it stayed in my soul for the most part. Because I learned so much. Nobody really gets an opportunity to go to where television started at NBC, and just to teach them everything that I learned. So that passion that I learned in New York, it came back to education. So when I got the opportunity to go to Millington Central High School, start their broadcasting program up, I took everything that I knew, passed it on to them, stayed there 18 years, built a TV studio there, had an award-winning program there. And then when they said that the program was going to be closing, then the opportunity came for me to come to East. And I came to East, looked at the classroom that they gave me, see if I could connect with some of my partners that I had worked with and friends that I knew. And they were donating equipment to me and everything like that. And we started Mustang TV. And then when I got into building that up, I started looking at the kids I was having coming in my classes. And the kids that I had coming in, they were so reserved, they were so intelligent, they had so much going for them, and they had a desire to really want to learn this. Both programs that I've taught, the kids really want to learn it because I was just giving them everything that I knew. I was pouring out everything that they had been taught to me, and the kids were receptive to it, and they came in and did their very best. So having kids that really want to learn what I had taught them, it meant a lot to me. But having mentors to teach me along the way, to pass on this information to these young people, for them to take this and then do something with it. And now to see Cormicha Wilborn, my former student, working over at News Channel 3 as a reporter and a news anchor, and I taught at Millington and everything like that. And then to see you doing this at Channel 5 now, and you were at ABC 24, that's my motivation to continue teaching. Because if I'm able to teach you that, and you do something with it, that means a lot to me. But to see you really take it on and go into film or go into news, and I can see you actually doing the work, that lets me know that, the work that I do is not in vain. And so it's about giving back to the young people and giving them opportunity to do this work, and to see what what you guys are doing. That motivates me to continue doing this, because we want the young people to take the information we've been given by the elder statesmen that's been passed on to us, so you guys can, enjoy it and then move up into management or create your own companies and, do all those type of things. That, that's my hope for each and every one of y'all that I teach, is that you come in the classroom, you learn what I taught you, and then you take it on to the next level. You get mentorship and you build your own businesses, start your own empires and stuff like that. So that's what it's about for me. So it's gratifying to me to see y'all do the work and continue on the tradition that we've created at both schools that I've taught at, And so that's what really means the most to me.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
I think teachers are really one of the most undervalued job titles that there are, because teachers can do so much with students, and they can have a big impact on their lives and really change the way that a student's life could go, for me, like you did that for me. So I want to go back to the point that you said about you started a program in Millington. So tell me about that. What was that like?
For me as a first-year teacher coming in, no experience in education, I was just a TV guy. I just did broadcasting, and that's what it was about for me. but having a desire to help young people, that was a passion of mine from growing up in the Chicagoland area because I always had good mentors. And those are the people that saved my life and got me, to the place I'm at now. Just having good people in your life and having my grandfather raise me, and then my grandfather in Atlanta when they both were alive, them two young men, I call them, helping me be able to just become a man that really had some kind of substance in him, somebody that really wanted to make a difference. So for me, that has been my quest for young men is to try to help them be the best version of themselves. Because if I didn't have a mentor, I wouldn't have made it as far as I did. And coming from the Chicagoland area, I didn't live in a negative part of town, but you know how Chicago is. It's a lot of gang activity. There's a lot of things going on there. And I had grandparents and a mother that just, they stayed on me. They kept me involved with the right things and kept me on the straight and narrow. And then they believed in me. My mom had me at 16. My mom never gave up on her dreams of, working and, pursuing a life that would be able to take care of us. But she grew us in the household with our grandparents and our great grandparents. So we were all in the house together. And so having that village to make sure we made it, that meant a lot to me growing up. So dad wasn't there in the household. He called from time to time and things like that. But my grandfather's presence would save my life and put me where I'm at today. Didn't have anything negative going on in my life. I just had family members that were involved in all kind of stuff, and he was prevalent. He was on me, making sure I was in the Boy Scouts, junior police, kept me on the straight and narrow, played basketball. He just was right there, making sure I was raised up right and making sure that he kept me from hanging with certain folks. Like when I want to go play basketball with certain friends and family, you can't go. And I would take that in, like I'd be upset, but as time went on, I understood what he was doing. He was keeping me out of negative activity. And so as a parent myself now and as a teacher, I try to keep my young people out of negative situations, giving them advice, talking to them, doing the things that I'm doing. And that's just, to keep them on the straight and narrow. Same way Grenade did for me, I'm trying to do that for the kids that I teach. Because I just feel like it's so much that you can be doing with this media stuff, especially my students. Y'all could be doing so much with this instead of being out in the streets. Because if you look at the 5, 6, and 10 o'clock newscast, the first block of newscast, what is it? Right. Negative impressions of people of color. Let's be real. If it's African Americans, Latinos, anybody that's a person of color, that's who you are seeing on the first block of a newscast. And so when I was working at Channel 5, that was one of the things I was tired of seeing that. Love my station, love my people that I work, Joe Birch, all those guys, I love those folks. But it just became a situation where other than not being at home, I got tired of seeing negative situations happening in our city. And the only way to give back was to go into education and try to do what I could with that. And so my journey as an educator has been to help as many young people get into this field and keep them out of negative situations, regardless of where they come from, their background, their ethnic, background or whatnot. Anything that I could do to keep them on the straight and narrow, that's what I did. Instead of having kids out there selling drugs, I'm putting the camera in their hand trying to get them to do right by that. Yeah. Don't go out here and sell drugs. Go ahead and be a filmmaker. Make music videos in your neighborhood. So I talk a lot about that. You've heard that before in class where I try to get young people to start thinking about, okay, you can always make money doing production. Somebody in your neighborhood tries to sing or want to rap or do something like that. Why don't you take your camera and go out and shoot music videos? Why don't you do something like that? Why don't you go to family reunions and do stuff for the family reunion? Why don't you go and do weddings? And that way I'm trying to put seeds in their head where they're able to think about, okay, I don't have to go out there and do what everybody else is doing. I can take what I'm doing with a phone or with a camera and actually go and do some real work. And it's positive work, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that has been my main thing. I pray to God every morning before I go to work that he gives me the right, discernment on what I need to do in order to help these students that I'm teaching. I have to stay in my word. I have to stay praying. I have to read scripture and stuff like that because the work that I'm doing, I have to be motivated every day to go in there and do what I'm doing because I have somebody's child in my class that I got to help. And I may be the only person in their lives to help save their life, put them in college, put them in the military, get them on the straight and narrow. So I know what the situation is. I never say it. I just do the work.
Yeah.
And I think when you're a mentor, it's not about what you say. It's about the actions and what you're doing to help people. That's what kids need right now. They don't need somebody going to come in and tell them something. They need somebody that's going to show them. And that's what I tried to do with you guys at East, was to not just talk about it, but actually bring the people in the classroom, actually take you on the field trips, actually get you job opportunities, actually help you with your resume. Those are things I try to do because I believe in each and every one of y'all. And that's my thing, that when I pass on, that at my funeral, when y'all come to it, I want y'all to talk about what we were able to accomplish together. Yeah. It's not so much about me, it's about doing the work, and it's about what we're able to accomplish together. And I think if the students look at what we're doing as a team, that's the most important thing, is that they're taking something from it and they're going to do something with it. And you just want to do God's will. I'm just going to be real with you. Mm-hmm. You just want to do God's will. You want to help everybody you can. You're not going to help everybody, but you do your very best to put that out there and try to help. Even if I get one person out the classroom that can take what I'm teaching them in class and they do something with it, I've done what God put me here to do. And in my own family is just try to be there every moment I possibly can for my kids and make sure they know I'm present, and I'm doing everything I can to not only be a good parent, but to be a mentor, to be a friend, to know, hey, you can always call Dad. And that's the same thing with you guys. Y'all can always call me, text me, or whatever. You need advice, call me. That's what we should be doing as mentors. And I think as an educator, they teach a subject matter. A mentor is somebody that stay in your life for the rest of your life because they believe in you. That's what I know I've become. I love the subject matter that I teach, but it's so much more important that you stay in those kids' lives and you make sure that they make it. And when they need that shoulder to cry on, or they need to talk, you're there. That's what I've always had. My mentors, anytime I need to talk to them, like during the break, I would talk to Joe Birch about stuff. You know, Joe, what you think about this? You know, what you think about that?
Yeah.
And I've told you that he's one of the most important people in my life. Lamont Matthews is one of the most important people in my life. I still talk to these people because I feel like as a mentor, you always able to get information. You're able to take something from that conversation and do something to help you. Absolutely. And I think that's what it's all about, man. It's just trying to, take what you're doing right now and you do the same thing for somebody else later on. Because young people gonna need you at some point, Yeah. And I just think if we can do that, we can keep a lot of these kids off the first part of the news. The A block, we got to change that in Memphis and try to put something on news that really matters. We got to do something that is really helping our kids, because right now you can't even really go downtown and do anything in the city of Memphis because you're scared to get robbed.
Yeah, it's
or
dangerous.
And it's young people because they don't have people in their lives that really care about them. And so that's why I say when a person comes in your classroom, you might be the only person that might be able to save their life. Mm-hmm. So we as teachers and educators and mentors got to really look at that like, while I'm sitting up here talking down to a kid because they didn't get my homework done, have you really talked to them about what they're going through?
Exactly, yes.
And that's the issue. It's like we don't, if you teach a core subject, that's fine. I teach a career and technical education, subject, because I'm with a kid more than what, sometimes their parent is. If they're not playing a sport, they probably with me working on games or doing some type of event. So that time I'm with them, I got to pour into them, do as much as I can. I got to help people with their resumes. That was one of the things that I loved about our work together, is when I was trying to get you into television, we didn't give up. No matter how discouraging it got, I kept telling you, you're going to get there. Because your determination was, even if you got to come in your off day, you're going to be there. And you work like I work. Yeah. And sometimes it can be to our detriment, but we're putting out good energy and we're doing good work, and people will remember you for the work you do versus them just remembering your name. The work that you do is the most important thing. Yes. I want to always be remembered that I show up on time, that I do the work that you need me to do. That's what I want to be remembered for. And I see you doing the same thing. And so when people cherish that stuff that you're putting into them, they're going to kind of take on that work and they're going to do it too. And you're doing that now. Look at you. You've been at 2 TV stations since you graduated my class, and now you got your own podcast. So that right there lets me know that you were listening to something I said.
Absolutely. At least one thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So with a big motivation to become a teacher and get these at-risk students, on the right path and things like that. And in your time in Millington, what do you think was the most challenging part of being a teacher? Was it getting the equipment? Was it maybe your work with students? Like, what was that like?
Millington. I think the hardest job for me at Millington, because I got a heart for the kids, is knowing that once they left my classroom, what type of environment they were going back into. Had a lot of kids come from the North Haven area, and that's off of Watkins. And sometimes, because I would drop them off at home, I wanted to make sure they got home safe. And it's a lot of situations that a lot of my kids are living in some terrible situations at home. Single parent household is the most important thing that was really going on prevalent out there, and the gang activity, and kids sometimes being homeless. It was a lot that was just going on that we don't really talk about, and that's not just at Millington. That's just the city of Memphis and Shelby County as a whole.
Yeah,
We don't really know the stories that these kids have unless you're able to sit down and talk to them and their parents and what they're going through. And so when you have a heart for kids at both schools, I've just kind of taken that on. That while I'm educating and mentoring, it's part of it. Sergio is just trying to do everything I can to just be that person that they can lean on. I know my subject matter. That's 30 years plus in this industry, so that's a given there. When it comes down to broadcasting and filmmaking and everything that we do. But being there for the kids is the most important thing. I think we have to care more about the individuals that we have in our classrooms versus the subject, because the subject is going to be covered.
Mm-hmm.
But what they actually going through at home, that matters the most to me and my wife. Making sure they can make it. Make sure they have something to eat. Even if I got to buy pizza when they at school with me after school, I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
And the sacrifices for making sure that somebody has something to eat. They tell you, hey, Miss Gal, we ain't got no food at home. Then, hey, whatever I got to do. If I got to feed them, if I got to, whatever I got to do. That's just where I'm at. It's not so much just digging in your pocket to try to do something, but just to be there. That's the one thing that I say my kids at Millington and, the kids that I teach at East, they know about me, is that I'm there, and I always want them to know that I'm here, saying no matter if I've been going from Millington for for 4 years, whatnot, and I still talk to those kids. Mm-hmm. I still text. I still check on them when they get married. They have kids. They do all of that, and that's a person that's going to be in their life forever because that's what they mean to me. I love, all the kids I've been able to teach. And when I say I love and go hard for those kids, I do. And I think we're supposed to, in the time that we're with you guys, and to actually show you that we care, because we want y'all to take on that mantra and actually do the same type of work. Mm-hmm. Giving back is one of the most important things you can do. And so with both schools, it hurt me to leave that school, to be honest with you, because I was leaving so many kids that I had taught and their families, because I had been 18 years. Mm-hmm. So it was like a death. And a lot of tears were shed because I was leaving. It wasn't so much about the job. It was more about leaving the kids.
Yeah.
But to see my kids going to be real estate agents, and they're working in, finance, and then Kwamisha's working in news, and to see that in the legacy of work that we created during that time. And we created a documentary my last year there. Uh-huh. And all of the kids that's working it, I got Jade and Janae Rice. They're known as DJ Toots. They actually are the DJs for Duke Deuce right now down in Atlanta.
Oh, nice.
So I've had a lot of kids come through that program that are doing some phenomenal things. They're working in film. Arias Hardaway is working in film, and Jamie Puckett, and so many kids that I taught are doing stuff with this. And I have one young lady that's in California right now that's an actual recording artist, and she's been doing stuff with J Records and stuff like that. So it's so many kids that I've taught over the last 24 years, and then to see all of them doing well, whether they be in the military, they're working in the field of television and film, or whatever it is they're doing. That's the legacy that I've been able to create. And I look back at that and I'm thankful. I don't look back at it with pride or anything like that, but to just thank God that I've been able to do that, and to be able to plant them seeds and be able to pass that on to young people, and to see them do that and still continue that on at a new school. And, when you do the work, it speaks for itself. It's nothing that needs to be said when you do the work. And I don't have to beat on my chest or brag on what I do. It's just the legacy that I created and that I am creating is the kids' work and where they're at and what they're doing. And that right there is the biggest motivation for me as an educator, is that they're doing the work. And I go back to saying that if you're able to plant them seeds and they're able to take on what you've taught them and they're doing something with it, that's the most gratifying thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I love it. I love that because the proof is in the pudding that I've been able to see these kids come in my classrooms and then go on into this industry or go into the military or go into some line of work that's positive and they're doing great things and then they're helping other people along the way.
Yeah.
Like that, for an educator and for a mentor like me, when it's all said and done, that's what I have. The proof is in the documentaries and everything we've created, and it shows what these kids are doing. That type of work, when you're able to show people at a school or just in life, whether it be on social media, the body of work that the kids have created.
Yeah.
It ain't so much about me, but it's about, look at what these kids are doing. And so the two documentaries that we've created at both schools, that shows what the kids are doing.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about East. So after leaving Millington, I know it was a hard time. And then going to East, as a T-STEM school. And then you got like the set from ABC24 because you have all these.
You were helping me with that too.
Yeah, I was helping with that as well.
Yeah.
So tell me about, that transition from Millington to East. What have you learned at East, and what's the impact that you're trying to have?
When I say like the support from my administration at East, like Dr. McKinley, Dr. Somerville, I just got great people, that Mr. Sanford, and so many people, Coach AC, like just to have people that support you in that way and would do everything they can to help you get equipment and things of that nature, because we've had to fight to get equipment and everything, but it's been worth it because we're doing this together. For us to go to ABC24 and they give us a whole new set, and then we come in and we build it up in the classroom. Nobody ever thought that a whole TV studio be in a classroom, and we built that up. To see what I'm doing now at East, it's like I'm so blessed to be able to do what we've been able to create, because we put so much stock in building that set up from scratch and putting it together as a team and going and picking everything up, and people being so gracious and donating so much to us just because they believe in what we're doing. So that has been the greatest thing that I've been able to accomplish. I had a lot of support at Millington and great people I work with. Love all the folks that I work there with. But when God gives you a second act, and the second act is for you to go and do more than what you did before. And I created a whole TV studio. I took a woodshop class at Millington and turned it into a full TV studio. So to take a classroom and turn it into a whole news situation, it was great, man.
Yeah.
We got 5 sets in one classroom. Who does that? I did take architecture when I was in high school, and I was supposed to be an architect. God had other plans, and when I went to Russ College, they dropped the architecture program, and then I got into broadcasting because I had family members that worked in broadcasting. Didn't even know it, man. I really didn't.
Wow.
And met my cousin, Callie Crosley. She was one of the producers on Eyes on the Prize. My other cousin, Karen Greer, who's a news anchor in Atlanta. This is on my dad's side of the family. Then I found out my grandfather and my great-grandfather, they both were pressmen and journeymen at the newspaper back home in Kankakee, Illinois, where I'm from. And then I worked at the newspaper company when I was in high school and my freshman year in college, and not knowing the legacy that my family had. So I just got into radio because it was my work study. And then I was like, hey, I got cousins working at and everything like that. But the internship is what changed my life because I took it more serious. And I looked at the opportunity I was given. My godfather, Nate Sain, who's a lawyer in New York, he's also from Chicago. But he has his own scouting service. He's an NBA agent also too. He was Dwayne Wade's first agent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he was the one that actually helped me get my internship in New York. He was like, why you don't go to Chicago and get an internship in Chicago and they're not going to pay you for it, but I can get you an internship in New York.
Yeah.
He said, at Rockefeller Center too, by that. I said, cool, I'm with it.
Yeah.
But that ultimately changed my life. My wife said when I came back to school after I did that internship, she said I was on fire for my major. And I was like any other kid, your freshman year, sophomore year, you trying to get into your major. Mm-hmm. But once I did the internship and came back for that junior year, I was on fire, man. And I never stopped. From that point on, I worked hard. I built my resume up. Not going to say that it wasn't challenging work. It wasn't a lot of stuff that happened along the way because you get your bumps and bruises in this industry. Yep. But what I also learned too, and I've told you this several times, is when the industry changes, you change with it. Otherwise, you get stuck. And I learned a lot of times, a lot of people get complacent in this industry and they just stay with a company for so many years. And then you wake up one day, you've been there 15, 20 years and you can only do so much at a station or at an organization because if there's no growth, you got to move on to the next thing. And you got to, as an individual in this industry, be looking at what the next thing is. And I think a lot of us get caught up in the industry in that mindset of thinking that, okay, I'm going to work this job for 30 years and that's going to be it. Television change every day. And we talk about that now as streaming services now that's taking over everything. So there's less jobs and everything. So when I came out of college in 98, it was wide open. There was a lot of jobs. Now it's few. You're working with with the automation program now, and that's cutting out a lot of the jobs we had starting up.
Yeah.
Channel 5 and all the other TV stations, you start out in the studio, and then there's no studio people there now. Mm-hmm. There's nobody run audio anymore. Yep. So it's less jobs. The director has to do everything. And so with that, they're doing less they're doing more with less people. Yeah. And so it's cutting out so many jobs, and a lot of folks got to leave news to go to entertainment because that's where the field is going now. They're doing film, they're doing podcasts. This is an ever-growing field, so it's like you have to be ready for whatever the change is going to be, and if you get stuck, you're lost. And the way technology and AI is coming along, man, it's not going to be a lot of jobs. Only the most qualified people are going to get the job. Yeah. So if you don't know how to do multiple positions, you're going to be stuck. And that's what I try to inform the kids on now. Like, you got to take this stuff serious. Even in high school, you got to take it serious because when you graduate from college, it's going to be one job. And it's going to be a whole bunch of people coming for that job. And it's all going to be the most qualified person going to get the job. Mm-hmm. So the more you know and the more you know how to do and the way you build relationships with people and that your work ethic is good, that's going to be the person that's going to get the job. Because if you don't have that, you're going to be lost with a degree and then you can't do anything with it. So that's where our kids are at right now. They're not taking this stuff serious and learning everything from high school to they go to college to internships to externships to job shadowing to doing all of that type of stuff. If they don't take it that serious, they're not going to have a job in this industry. So that's where young people got to be at now because you don't have, well, I'm going to get it done later on. You don't have that. You have, I got to go ahead and learn this and master this now because only the most qualified person going to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be ahead of the game with that.
You got to, man. Yeah, you got to.
I want to get back to East because I know that a lot of times that when I was at the news station at 24 and at 5, I'm calling you, asking you for advice and things like that. But I want to go to the beginning of our, of our relationship. So tell me about, I know my side of the story when it comes to how I felt about that competition and winning it and, doing that documentary with Jarvis Greer. Mm-hmm. So what did you feel about that?
For me, that was one of my mentors. Mm-hmm. And then he was retiring. So we got to jump before anybody else did on Jarvis retiring, and we were able to pay homage to him. Mm-hmm. And for him to be at the movie studio and I'm at a Playhouse on the Square. Was it Playhouse on the Square? Malico on the Square.
Yeah, Malico on the Square.
Where we showed the video when we were in the Emerging Filmmakers competition with Lakeitha Mason. Shout out to Lakeitha, one of my good friends. He's a great person. But to pay homage to Jarvis and all the work that he's done, he was the first African-American sports director at Channel 5. And then for him to pass it on to Doc Holliday, who's the second African-American to be sports director at Channel 5. To me, that meant a lot. They're both University of Memphis grads. They both played football for University of Memphis. Doc played football in the NFL for a little while for the St. Louis Rams, and for him to come back and then take his mentor taught him. That meant a lot to me because I had a good relationship with both guys. But for you to do that work and then do a great job at it and pay homage to him, and he had been through a lot recently with health and things of nature before that happened.
Yeah.
Before he retired. But for him to get that, salute for the work that he's done and all of the things he's done, that meant a lot to him. But it meant a lot to me too, because he got his flowers from our program, and we've seen the work that he did and the value that he brought to this city. He was a great football player, they say, before I was born and everything like that. But he was a great football player at the University of Memphis, and then he got into sports journalism. And just the way he worked hard and he kept it funny. I said this on your documentary, that he was like our version of ESPN in the city.
Yep.
Animated, just like Jack Eaton used to be back in the day. And, we've had so many pioneers that come through Channel 5 that have done a lot for sports and news. But to see Jarvis get his flowers and to see him, just be celebrated for the work that he's done, that meant a lot to me. And then to see you do it because you were an athlete, and to me, the connections that you had with the piece, and it meant a lot to Jarvis, because Jarvis, when he interviewed you and everything like that, you could see we go back and look at the pictures. He was so happy that somebody did something like that for him, and I think it's good to give people their flowers for the work that they've done. And I was thankful that we were able to get the jump on that. I love kind of leading the force and letting people know, hey, we love you, we care about you, we appreciate the work you do. And it's good to tell people why you got that moment that, hey, man, I appreciate everything you've done for me. And for me personally, his advice and him doing interviews with my students over the years, like, it means a lot because they don't have to do it.
Yeah.
And him taking his time of just to, just be involved with what I'm doing and to really see him be proud of the work I've done too, that meant a lot to me. And so to give him his flowers and then to see you do so well with that project, and Indie Memphis gets it after we get done doing emerging filmmakers. And then Latinx?
I was the Future Latinx award winner. Yeah.
So that, that whole summer, man, you were doing a lot.
Yeah.
And to do your first competition and then go that far, like the whole crew did a great job. But for you to take that on, and then, for the Latino community, that was special too, because you were showing the positive images of what a person can do. But you were also, as an athlete, doing something to pay homage to somebody who had done a lot of great in this city. And you learned a lot as well from that. So what's your take on what you got out of it, man?
I mean, it was amazing. I mean, like you said, I got that Future Latinx Leader Award, and I was actually in one of our Hispanic newspapers called called La Prensa Latina. And so that piece in itself has done a lot for me in terms of getting my name out there. But when I was doing that piece, I remember going to Channel 5 the first time. And of course, I wasn't working in news at the time. I was aspiring to. And it was really nice to look at the studio and just be in there. I'm like, wow, look at all this, look at all these cameras. The studio's really nice.
I'm grateful that I still have people that work at that station that love the work that I'm doing, and they love talking to the young people.
Yeah.
And like I say, Joe Birch was so great that day because he was telling us the history, because him and Jarvis started out together.
Absolutely, yeah.
You talk about Joe Birch started, he graduated with 79 from Christian Brothers, and then he's been at that station, 40 plus years, and him and Jarvis had did this together. They came out around the same time and started the station and worked their way from the bottom all the way up.
Yeah.
And that's what really that means a lot to me. They're not just people that are figureheads on a show. They've done the work. And I appreciate that about them, that their work ethic is just impeccable when it comes down to covering different events. Joe is one of the most resourceful guys when it comes down to working in this field, because Joe's memory he can go back and remember stuff from before I was probably born. But as a news anchor and a reporter, man, both of those guys are phenomenal, man. Absolutely. Ursula Madden was great. We had so many people that come through Channel 5 that were just amazing. But they were the standard. Dave Brown was the standard. You know, you didn't get a chance to meet him, but just great people.
Yep.
And so now you're entering that world and you're working with Joe now. And I've always told you, hey, make sure you talk to Joe, make sure you talk to Kim Clark, because they're just great people and they got so much wisdom that they can pass on to you. Andrew Douglas is another good one, you know, that you need to talk to. But just being around good people, when you have the time to just fellowship and just talk. One of the most special things that happened for me recently is our 76th anniversary that we had at Channel 5. We had it downtown Memphis last spring. And just to be around everybody, people that I had saw, but I had never got a chance to meet. And just to be in that room, that station and that community that we have, and to be a part of that alumni, it's a special place for me. Me interning at NBC is a special place for me. You know, my family, of course, you know, I have my wife and my kids is special. And the most important thing to me is my family. But to be a part of that organization, and then to still be a part of the alumni and everything that we do in the fellowship, you learn so much. And like I always tell y'all, like, soak it up, because everybody working in this industry don't have the wisdom and the knowledge to pass on to you. So when you're in that surrounding of people that are greatness in this city of Memphis, you got to take that time and try to learn as much as you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tomorrow's not promised for any of us, but you have to take that time to try to master and get insight whenever you can. I don't never miss a moment letting people know how much I care about them and how much I appreciate them, because without them, it wouldn't be no me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's I let people know that, and sometimes it's like, dang, I didn't know you care that much about me. But it's like just watching people, the way they carry themselves, how they dress, and the way they deliver information. I'm very careful on how I do that in the classroom, because I've watched all of these people and how they were good stewards over different things. And so I carry myself in that approach. And then after I get done with the work, I go home to my family.
Yeah.
You know, so it's watching people and taking, hey, let me get a little piece of that, you know, from what I learned from that person.
Yes.
So if I have a conversation, I may not take everything from that, but it's a piece of information I'm gonna take from that and be able to apply that to my life. Not growing up with a dad in the house, I had to be resourceful and find little pieces of those mentors that I could add to my life, so that way I can be a good parent to my kids, but also be a good mentor. And I think those are the things that help me. I've always been a person that watches and then, okay, how can I add this into my life? If this is meant for me, let me add that. Because when you don't have that in the household, you have to build something. It's kind of like you building this robot. And that's the way I always look at a science project. And that's the way I've always taken my life. It's like, okay, when I have a conversation with somebody, okay, let me use that. Let me use this.
Yes.
And that's the only way I know how to do this. Because instead of me just giving up and being like, you know, like everybody else that grew up in, you know, the African American community or any community, you know, I had my dad, so I'm bitter and I'm this, I'm that. And I had to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna take the high road and I'm gonna do things that are gonna be beneficial to me. I can't be a person that just gives up.
Yeah.
I got to keep going. God got me here for a purpose, so let me do what it is He wants me to do during the time that I'm here on this earth. And I got to do the very best. Granddaddy always told me, be to work 10 minutes early. If you get to work late, make sure you don't take a lunch break. Make sure that you work. And you do what it is, because you should have been there on time. You should have came and did your best work. If you make a mistake, don't beat yourself up about it. Just do better. Don't make the same mistake the next time. So I live by that. When I would go and do different shoots, if I got there a few minutes late because of running from work or, you know, dealing with the family or whatever it may have been, I don't sit down on the stool. I stand up and do my work. So I punish myself in a positive light because I should have been there.
Yeah.
And so I live like that, like I should have did that. A lot of people, how you beating yourself up? No, I'm not beating myself up. I'm training myself to do better. So if I don't challenge me and be the best example for myself, how can I be a good example for anybody? So I've lived by that for the last 30 plus years, and I should have did things better. And it's not to beat yourself up, but to challenge yourself to do better. If you make a mistake, not saying you're not going to make a mistake, but do better the next time so that way you learn from it. And so that's the way I am. It's hard to work with me sometimes because I'm a Capricorn, and I'm my wife called me a perfectionist, but I just want to do the best work I possibly can during the life that I have.
Yeah.
And that's what my granddad taught me, man. It's just give it everything you got.
Absolutely.
My grandfather was like this, and I say this is the last thing I'm gonna say about him. My grandfather worked his last job for 21 years. His mother died. They had the funeral. He went there on his lunch break and went back to work. So that lets you know the measure of the man that I grew up under. It's not because he didn't love his mother, but he was like, I still got to keep doing my work. And that was to help him get through losing his mom. So he dived into his work. I do that a lot of times. And sometimes it can be, taxing, but my mentality is I got to keep moving forward. I got to keep doing things. Things are going to happen in life, but I got to keep moving forward. Life is not going to be easy, but I got to keep moving forward. So anything that I've ever been through in life, I've always tried to move past it, but also learn something from it and try to do better and try to mend them relationships. Like my dad's about to turn 70, and we communicate. We're trying to build a better relationship, but we had to build a foundation because, it wasn't a lot there. He missed out on so much, but to know that we're trying to do that, because we don't know how long he may have or I may have on this earth.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we mend that relationship and that he's there for my kids and he's able to be the best grandfather that he possibly can. So to me, that means a lot. And I try to tell the young men and the young women that are in my classroom, hey, it may not be the best relationship with your parent, but try to do the best you can to have some kind of relationship with them, and that you're able to say, hey, we did something together, before they passed on, because life is short for everybody right now and we don't know. So we got to get it right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. That's some great ways to go about things and great morals. I want to go back to something. You said that you did freelancing, and I want to know some advice that you would give to other people who want to start freelancing in video production and things like that. What's some advice you'd give? I know you said that to punish yourself in a good way. If you're late, you stay later than you're supposed to. Things like that. What's some other advice that you could give?
What I can say, and this go back to Channel 5, I had a manager that hired me, Creighton Harmer. Creighton saw me when I had a young family. He said, I know you got a young family. Do you want to do some extra hours? He said, because I know you work at Channel 5, but I know you got a young family. You got 2 kids now. Do you need to make some extra money? Him planting that seed in my life is like, hey, do you need extra? Okay. Well, he got me into freelancing and doing work for Bishop G.E. Patterson, which is the Holy Convocation for the Church of God in Christ. And I did it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Because he's seen that I was working hard. And I've always been known for the work that I do. And he was like, hey, we got this event coming up. Do you want to work? I said, yeah, I gotta take care of my family, yes. And so by them believing in me and him mentoring me and getting me into that work and working with some of the first African Americans to ever work in the city in broadcasting or in audio or anything like that, I became the youngest person to work on those crews. And so I was always soaking up all of the work that they had done and what it was like back then when they were making, they were making an impact on the city, being the first to do that in my community, So I didn't miss a beat trying to learn from these guys. Willie Watson, who was Joe Birch's first news photographer, they helped start FedEx TV. He was working on that crew, so he mentored me. And Ed Webb and so many people that helped start FedEx Television, because they left the TV stations to start FedEx Television.
Yeah.
And so to work on that crew, because of Creighton, I was able to learn so much other stuff. And then they were mentoring, they were calling me, and they would, hey, we got this going on. Do you want to work? Yeah, I want to work. And so I would always schedule everything around my job, and it was okay with my wife. I wanted to talk to her, first of all, just to make sure it was okay. Hey, baby, I'm going to get ready to miss this time at home with y'all. But I'm going to go out and try to make some extra money for the family. And to have a wife that also worked in the television industry. She was a general manager for TBN, the Christian TV network. So her job was a little different than mine. I was working in news, but I was also trying to get my resume together so that way I can build it up.
Yeah.
And that's what I knew from Creighton is, hey, you need to build your resume up to get as much experience as possible. So when jobs come to the city, you'll be called for that opportunity. And then that way you can make extra money for your family. because when you work in television, sometimes you need extra money if you got a family. They knew that and they believed in me. And so from that point on, hey, I want to, anything you got open, I want to work. I want to work. I want to work. And so they knew that about me. And for 10 years straight, I was able to work, with Bishop Patterson and work in the church sector. And then I branched out and started working with other churches and doing production work and then going to Channel 5. And then when I got to Millington, I had to put all my energy into that program. So I cut back on working in the church sector and focus on doing stuff with you guys. I stayed on the Channel 5 and worked part-time there. But just getting out there freelancing and learning everything. I worked for my wife over at TVN, doing stuff for WBUI TV 40, her TV station at the time, and just helping out. And so anything I could get my hands on to build another skill, I did it. Editing, whatever they needed me to do. This past spring, we just got done working with a guy that I've known for a long time by the name of John Jackson. He was an engineer at FedEx, but we actually got a chance to edit his film for Who the Virus Tolls. It's on Amazon TV right now, Amazon Prime, I'm sorry. And to be a part of that and then to actually just continue working on pieces and still, get my chops up, because it's like, once you think you know everything, that's when you lost. And so even at 50 years old, to still be working, editing and doing stuff and just working on my craft every day. I got to edit something every day, it seems like it now. Because I'm not going to be out there running camera and doing stuff as much as like I used to. We do Power Pro Wrestling and everything like that. So I was always wanting to learn. And to this day, I'm still that person. I still would challenge y'all in class to edit. Because I want y'all to beat me. I want y'all to be better than I am. But to beat me, you got to work hard, and I'm coming with wisdom, and I want those kids to see, hey, I need to take something from this guy and learn something and then be better than him.
Oh, yeah.
So
absolutely.
That challenge has always been there, but it starts with your work ethic and how you are. And, my motivation was my family. I didn't want to be a statistic like everybody else. I didn't want to be that father that was absent, but I wanted to make sure I provided for them. And I got one son that just graduated from Middle Tennessee State with his degree in mechanical engineering, and my daughter's graduating in December with her degree in sports management. And then I got my youngest son getting ready to go to middle school. So to be prevalent and for them to know every day that dad is there, and to know that, hey, if they need something, dad is willing to go out and freelance and make the extra money to help them with rent or whatever it may be, because a parent is supposed to show up. A parent is supposed to be there. A parent is supposed to be their best friend. And whenever they need to call me and talk to me, I'm there for them. So
absolutely.
I feel like all of the lessons that I've been given from freelancing to provide a living for them and try to, be there for them, that's been my motivation. But in the classroom, y'all have been my motivation, is trying to help y'all too, because y'all have become my kids as well and part of my family. But I think just showing people to work hard, even at 50, I'm not giving up. I'm still doing stuff and challenging myself too, because one of the most important things was to work on that film. It was about COVID. I lost my grandmother to COVID when she was 80 years old, and that was actually my last year working at Millington.
Wow.
And it took me 3 years to get over her death because she was so prevalent in my life. My grandmother was a nurse, and she had done so much in her 50 plus years of working in nursing, but couldn't beat COVID. And for that to happen, it hurt me. But to work on this film and edit the film and put all of the imagery together and do everything I helped Mr. Jackson with, and John Hamilton, the photographer and videographer that worked on the film, it gave me a sense of closure for my grandma. And I say, other than what I've done as a teacher and working in broadcasting, that was the most important thing I've done in my field, because I was able to work on a film that is doing some amazing things. It's been in Forbes. It's been in a lot of things. He has a book out. And to be a part of that and for him to give me the opportunity to do that, I feel so blessed and honored to do that. I feel blessed and honored to work with all my partners I've worked with our program, with On Location Memphis, with Angela Green and so many other people that we work with, Lakeitha Mason and just so many other countless people that believe in the work that we're doing. And Liddell Beeman from Heal the Hood Foundation, I've worked with him on pieces with our program. So all of those people believe in what we're doing as a team at East and with Mustang TV and everything like that. But for them to be able to pass on opportunities to y'all, like now getting you guys jobs and getting you into the field, Christopher Franklin giving you an opportunity to work over at ABC 24, that was one of my most favorite things for you to actually get in there and them see the work ethic that you have. And Chris Green and all the guys that work, Shango Cook, all the people that had a chance to meet you when we were moving all that equipment, and then you go work with them, and then they be like, this boy can work, he's good. And, so because me and Chris go to church together, so to hear from him on how well you were doing, how you were moving up, and then when it was time to transition, you did what you had to do with your career.
Well, I want to wrap this up. Thank you, Mr. Calvin, for being here.
No problem.
Such a wealth of knowledge that Mr. Calvin has. I hope you guys were impacted in some type of way. Thank you all for joining us. Please hit the like, share, subscribe. If you have a comment, leave a comment. Tell us what you think about this. We'll see you guys on the next one.